Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this session. So it is the first session concerning the climate smart housing and settlement strategy. So we will discuss about the resilient by design housing strategy for a changing climate. The main theme is climate smart design, inclusive finance, and circular pathway for sustainable settlement. May I just introduce myself? My name is Pascal Panosetti. I'm from Switzerland, from Geneva. I'm working now, I'm the technical coordinator for the new cluster, as we learned this morning from IOM. So the previous global shelter cluster has been merged with CCCM and Housing, Land and Property. So I'm now working since 2 years as a technical coordinator. My background, I'm an architect. I've been working 20 years in the construction business, 10 years in the private sector, and since 2007 in the humanitarian work, and mainly in Asia Pacific, Indonesia, Nepal, Bangladesh, and a few countries like Haiti for the big response about earthquake 2010. May I introduce, we have a great panelist today. So I would like to introduce Liva. Shrestha. She's the Director of Program and Engineering Lead Asia Pacific at BChange, an American organization that is working since more than 20 years on earthquake-resistant construction, one of their responsibilities. So Liva, she's a structural engineer with nearly 20 years experience in earthquake resilient and climate smart construction across Nepal and the Asia Pacific region. She is the Director of Program and Engineering Lead. She drives regional strategy, technical standard, capacity building, and resilient housing finance initiative with microfinance institution. She has led major programs in Nepal, Indonesia, and the Philippines, and Mali, and other countries. And she holds a master's degree in structural engineering and management. And she will be the first presenter. Then we have Kester Vera from Philippines. So he's working for Habitat for Humanity International. So he's the habitability and construction quality specialist for HFH. Kester is a civil engineer. He's a humanitarian specialist with 15 years experience in shelter, WASH, housing program in disaster response, recovery and development. He's based in Philippines and works with Habitat for Humanity and as Asia Pacific focal point for the network of HFH. He previously worked in grassroots organizations, also in the private sector, and National Housing Agency, and repair over 1,000 homes. He's also trained as shelter cluster coordinator, like as the global shelter cluster, we are conducting twice a year a training for the cluster coordinator. So it's not only shelter, because coordination is the cluster system. So even if we will merge now with CCCM and HLP, we will adapt our training, but it's mainly on coordination of humanitarian. It's Naveed, from Mr. Naveed, from Pakistan, from SPHF, and I think we can applause because thank you SPHF for this great forum. There are many founding with other donors, but thank you very much for this forum. So Mr. Naveed is also a civil engineer and is working mainly on this big project, which is a unique project in Pakistan. It's 2.1 billion reconstruction. I think it's really amazing. I think if you have managed a construction project, about 500, 1,000, it takes a lot of time, and when we speak about 2.1 billion, it's really amazing. Congrats to the Pakistani government to manage this program. And then we have from Myanmar, from France. So we have Rafael Ascoli, so he's a French citizen, was living in Myanmar. He's from the private sector. It's really important to have the private sector. So we have the private sector. He owns a design company, and then he has also a construction company. He's specialized really in bamboo construction, and then he will present some of the projects in Myanmar. With that, I'm wishing you a very pleasant and interesting forum. It will be a great opportunity also to exchange also after the forum. And I will pass over to Liva. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. Good afternoon, everyone. So my presentation today is about our work, the work which it is doing with microfinance institutions in Philippines and Indonesia. So we're working with MFIs there to, to promote resilient housing to their members. And we're using a digital tool to help us do this in scale. So I will be presenting that tool today. Let's start with how a typical client journey would look like in the process. So the first activity is basically client awareness and talking to people about the loan, how the loan would work, and why resilient housing is important. And once we have a few interested loan takers, a few interested homeowners who want to improve their house, the first thing we do is conduct a home assessment, house assessment, and then using the information collected from there, we analyze the information collected, and then we provide the homeowners with certain guidance on what they can do to their house, and then the homeowner then takes the loan from the MFI, moves on to implementation where they implement the improvement works on their house, and then they pay back the loan, and then the closeout happens. So to go into more detail in the processes, so we're using a mobile application. BCTAP here is the digital technical platform of Build Change, and we have a mobile application that helps us in collecting information on doing the assessment of the house. So during the assessment process, the first part is the go/no-go, where we look into whether the house is eligible. For example, if the house is near the edge of the cliff, or if there are other disasters that cannot be solved by just improving the house. So we first make sure that the house is in a safe place. So that's the go/no-go. Once that the house passes that, there's other all the parameters in the house that we look into. We look into the vulnerabilities of the house. For example, are there existing damages in the house? We look at how many rooms are there, how many, what's the condition of the beam, we look into the roof. So all this information is collected through a mobile application, and again, you can see the forms are very, very pictorial. So this is intended for a non-technical person like a microfinance officer or even a builder to use. So these forms have been tested with them and then improved to make it more understandable and usable by a non-technical audience. So once that information has been collected, the microfinance officer would come to their office, and using this web application on their laptops, they would then be able to analyze that information, extract the information collected through the assessment form, and the tool would then generate a list of scope of work items. So the scope of work items are a list of items you can do to that building to improve the structural strengthening. You can conduct structural strengthening of the house. You can also choose to do habitability upgrades. You can do thermal comfort upgrades, and then also expansion. So at this point, the homeowner can then choose what they want to do to the house. If there are 10 items listed, the homeowner can choose to do 2 or 3 or 5. So once that choice is being done, and the choice is being done, as you can see, the cost for each activity is listed there. So the homeowner can make a choice based on their financial, their requirements as well as financial standing at that point. And then the tool generates a bill of quantities, which gives you a list of what are the items you need to purchase to carry out those the activities. And then the tool also has a feature where you can input the price, the current price, or you can have a database of price list of different locations that you can choose from. Basically, the tool generates like a design package for the homeowner and the microfinance officer, which contains a scope of work, a bill of quantities, and a builder's guide. So the builder's guide is basically very pictorial sort of guidance on how each scope of work that the homeowner has selected can be carried out in the field correctly, and this will guide the homeowner through the process. Another feature that the tool has is a loan utilizing check. So the microfinance officers are non-technical people, right? So this check sort of ensures that the loan amount that the homeowner has availed sort of is used for the intended purpose and not for other thing, and it is used correctly. So this is basically a quality control checklist, but a very designed for a non-tech audience, and MFO, someone like an MFO can use this to do that. And then finally we have a dashboard which the microfinance managers can use to see like what status each homeowner is in, how many homeowners are taking the loan program, have they repaid the loan, what is the construction progress like, and all of that can be monitored through a dashboard. So this is a basic tool that we are using with microfinance officers, which sort of the complex engineering has been built into this system. So this tool can be used by a non-technical person to give very accurate technical advice to homeowners using this tool and aids in scale up of resilient housing through the microfinance. Thank you.
It is also not a big news that our region is experiencing now more frequent and severe typhoons. I'm from the Philippines, so I should know. Sea level rise, extreme temperatures. Aside from this, and as the numbers are showing in the slides, 1 out of 3 people in the world doesn't have a safe and secure, affordable house to live in. 1.2 billion number of people displaced by disasters, 20 million number of people displaced by climate-related disasters, and a lot of these numbers. And big numbers like this would make us make our brain shut down, or maybe spur to find one solution that will solve all these big problems. And a while ago in our booth, we were often asked, so based on your experience, what is the best solution? What solution can we copy from you and implement in our country? It is natural and uncommon to look for a one-size-fits-all solution that can easily be scaled, cost-effective, and quick because of the magnitude of the problems we are facing. So what is a silver bullet? Considering that climate change and housing deficit is the werewolves and the vampires, sorry for that corny analogy, what is a silver bullet that we see will solve our problems? Unfortunately, there is no silver bullet solution to the climate change and housing deficit we are facing. But we see that it's a combination of different puzzle pieces that works together. Firstly, design, and ensuring that resilience capacity of housing structures are able to resist the resilience demands. In the system thinking approach also, there must be an enabling environment that can be present. And that will be answered by good policy and governance. But most importantly, what we think will complete this puzzle piece is the community capacity. The capacity of the people who build, live, and maintain and govern the housing environment. Based on our work, and long story short, the silver bullet that we're seeing is not a good design, but a combination of all these puzzle pieces that works together. Still, our topic for today is resilient design. So I'll be presenting some of the designs that we're implementing in the region. Firstly, typhoon and earthquake resilience. Let me introduce to you the cement bamboo frame that we've been implementing in the Philippines and Nepal. So it's a engineered bamboo technology, and it's designed to withstand 7.2 magnitude and category 5 typhoon. It's a low carbon, based on the recent study that we did among the materials that we're using in building houses. This has the lowest carbon, lowest greenhouse gas emissions. So we're implementing this in the Philippines and in Nepal. Flood resilience, elevated design is a common design in Southeast Asia. So we're just using the vernacular Southeast Asian architectural feature of raising our houses depending on historical flood data that we get, or any data that we're getting from the community. Extreme temperature has been a problem recently. So we're doing a lot of study on this. We have a partnership with World Bank. We did a study with World Bank in Indonesia, where we did and tested different different methodologies to ensure thermal comfort in the houses that we're building. We tested reflective roof paint, aluminum insulation, ceiling and gable ventilation, passive design roof ventilators. The other three we're still testing in partnership with Cooling Collaborative. So what we're doing right now is to check and really come up with scientific data to see what's really working on this thermal comfort space. Winds, probably not new, especially for countries with very strong winds coming from typhoon, cyclones trapping, diagonal bracing, and the very famous build back, say for key messages that revolves around making our houses typhoon resilient. On the mitigation side of things, and ensuring that we're using good materials as well, low carbon materials. So I mentioned bamboo, CEV blocks, some use of recycled materials as well, to ensure that the materials that we're using will not cause any environmental impacts. Energy has been a critical component as well. Renewable energy has been a critical component as well of the houses we're building. So we're integrating solar panels, small-scale solar panels in the houses that we're building. So with these 8 minutes of talk, what do I want for you to take away from this talk? Firstly, housing resilience is more than strong buildings. It's a whole of system working together. As mentioned a while ago, we have to have good policies. We have to ensure that we consider the built environment as well. And we have to, and most importantly, the capacity of the community. Context matters. Resilient solution must be grounded in local realities. A while ago, I mentioned that we implemented the CBFT in Nepal and in the Philippines. And in those two countries, we found two different results as well. I would say we were more successful in introducing the CBFT in Nepal, and we're still trying to promote the technology in the Philippines, because in my country, bamboo is still considered a poor man's material. That's why context is very important. And lastly, as I keep on repeating, community participation and continuous learning make the system adaptive. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon and namaste. It's good that it is very inclusive session. Very short time, and I will try to explain only one thing. And I will take more time in the first slide, and after that we can skip all. So simple. So during the recovery phase, there are 3 demarcated strategies to build a resilience in the house. Number 1, you follow existing structure. Number 2, you follow all the codal requirements. Number 3 is Kaizen. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this terminology, Kaizen. It's a Japanese development philosophy. Kai means, anyone familiar? No one? No one is listening to Japanese. They are progressing. Kai means change, and Zen means good. So my presentation is based on only one principle, which is called build back better. This is the philosophy adopted by SPHF. So let's start with the 2022 floodings. What has happened during that disaster? 70% of the Sindh emerged in water. 24 out of 30 districts declared calamity hit, and approximately more than 2.1 million houses were damaged, fully or partially. So we came to this rationale that climate change is intensifying floods, heat stresses, and livelihood. And then government of Sindh, they established one company named SPHF under section ACP section 42. So, as I mentioned earlier, that our strategy is not to follow the codal requirements, not to follow the existing structures, but another one that is called Build Back Better. It has its own complications. So let's dig into the details that what are the, oh, you are showing, okay. So what are the things which needs to be checked while implementing this BBB? So it requires hand-holding to the common person, to the beneficiary, and these are the mandatory requirements. Number one, development of IEC material, so that your message should be conveyed as it is to the beneficiary, because in the longer run, they would be implementing the whole scheme. And then your MI system, it's an integral part. And the other approach is owner-driven, community-led construction. And then it is also important to standardize the housing typologies. Like in SPHF, we have adopted 3 types. Number 1, brick housing. Number 2, concrete block houses. Number 3, hybrid or including some stone or any resilient material which is available in the community. And what it proved by adopting this Build Back Better. If we see 2023 and 2024 flooding, then no SPHF house was damaged during that flooding. So it is a proof that our strategy is working. And you can see the old structures and the new one, and you can witness the change. Thank you very much.
My name is Rafael. I'm an architect. Been living in Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, for the past 9 years. Started an architecture design studio and a construction company that focuses on bamboo. We've been building clinics, healthcare centers, playgrounds, schools, community centers, and more. But today I'll be presenting 3 different of our housing initiatives. So as you know, Myanmar is going through a multi-layer crisis at the moment. We have conflict. There's been a military coup in 2021. We've been in a civil war for the past 5 years. That's the first category. Second category is climate change. In 2024, there's been massive floods and typhoons that have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. And then finally, last year in March 2025, there's been a 7.7 Richter scale earthquake that hit Mandalay, Myanmar's second largest city. In Myanmar, we have about 350 bamboo species. Only a few of them are actually used in construction because of their load-bearing properties. But there are so many other bamboo species, and the very thinner ones are actually quite abundant and very, very affordable on the market. So we've been trying to do a lot of research and development to try to understand how we could use them to build houses for basically for the price of a smartphone, decreasing the price of the entire house. And to do this, we've been running a series of prototypes, 1-to-1 scale prototypes of houses that we've destroyed, and then measuring the breaking points, applying lateral loads to mimic wind loads, earthquake loads, measuring the breaking point with a dynamometer, and then incrementally upgrading and reinforcing and stiffening the joints in the structure, making our houses much more resilient to these kinds of crises. One example is last year we just finished 26 houses in an IDP camp, internally displaced people's camps. These are internal displacements. camps. And a couple of weeks after we finished the project, there was about a 3-hour walking distance away from our site, there was the earthquake that hit and destroyed most of the city. However, all of our 26 houses remained untouched. So this really shows how natural materials such as bamboo and timber can be much more resilient compared to concrete. And after the earthquake, we ran a recovery program, and it was a very different scenario because suddenly we're rebuilding people's houses on their private land. So it was even more important to get people included into the design and the construction of their own homes. And basically we had 3 levels of engagement in this community housing project. The first level of engagement is obviously funding. We're working with crowdfunding campaigns, private donors like Myanmar diaspora living in Canada, for example, and different NGOs, and then getting the money into the community. Second level of engagement was with procurement. We were treating the bamboo with international standards ourselves, and the wood also, and then sending it to the community so they have higher quality construction materials to work with. And then finally, the third different engagement we had was building up standards. So we set up about 10 different teams within the community in Mandalay. Each team is comprised of a senior carpenter and 3 juniors, and they can all work in parallel, working on 10 different construction sites at the same time. And we provided the training to have building standards such as bracing, insulation, proper footings. So basically the idea is that they can design and customize according to the wants and needs of the community, but then they can still respect some of the standards to make the houses much more resilient. And then finally, the last one is a manual we came up with. After 2 years of working and doing a lot of research, we found a lot of innovations on low-cost housing around the world, and then basically filtered this ginormous amount of data through the lens of Myanmar, understanding which innovations can be applied in this specific context for displaced communities who don't have access to electricity, so no power tools, only manual tools, and no access to funding. So using just basically materials you can find within the reach of the community and the surroundings, and recycled materials. This is another way of implementing housing, of really completely, in much more radical way, decentralizing construction and getting communities completely autonomous, no longer really bounded to external supply chains, but really self-determined. And we worked with a local graphic designer to make these illustrations much more culturally sensitive to maximize readability. Today we've already distributed more than 2,000 together with our partners at the UNHCR and different organizations and NGOs. So if you're interested, we also have the digital English version and a couple hard copies of the Myanmar version, so don't hesitate to come and speak after the meeting. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. I think it was very interesting. So that's different way of design for climate change. As we know, there is a wave of heat, which is also linked to flood, because the soil, is too dry, and then there is more flood. So, as you know, also in Pakistan, but a lot of countries now is also one thing I would like to say also about the cluster. Like before, I'm working for IFRC, and there was UNHCR, now is IOM for this new cluster, and we were separating between disaster and conflicts. But this new cluster, they will not have difference between the two. There was just an information, because it's new and the big information hasn't been shared for the big community. So I think it's very interesting also to see the presentation from Liva in Nepal, to see innovation, to find tools who can support really to create bill of quantity automatically and promote microfinance. From Habitat for Humanity, also very interesting, also taking into account the material you will use, also because the heat, so using particular material for the roof, for instance. From Mr. Naveed, impressive project also in Pakistan, Build Back Better. I think we all know that we need to build back better, and we need to support the community. So the priority is community in the center, and we are not here to reinvent typology or construction. The the community know their own construction. And we are here to support them to improve with small details about earthquake resistant, flood resistant, etc. And as we can see also with the last presentation from Myanmar, also always thinking, I'm an architect, and if I do a drawing, only the architects and engineers will understand my drawing. So we need really to adapt, is why we are doing this IEC material, and also to adapt with the local culture. Very important also to be more accepted. So that was just my personal feedback on that. So I would like to thank the presenter. And I don't know if you have any questions, so please you can raise your hand, and we have our colleagues will pass you the microphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for the nice presentation. We know that using the local available materials is cheaper and also faster, particularly after the disaster response. So my concern is that maybe using a huge number of or huge quantity of bamboo or timber maybe affect the environment and climate, because people need to cut trees and greeneries and also cause deforestation. Thank you.
That the application is easily to use for construction, especially for data. But may I ask that the application is also can be used for repair and renovation works, or special for only for new only houses?
You're asking whether the tool that I presented can be used for repair and rehabilitation?
Yes.
Definitely it can be, because without first level of repair and rehabilitation, you can never do other things on the structure. So it definitely, the first step is, again, like I said, the tool also doing the assessment, it also assesses the damages in the house. And based on that input, the scope, one of the scope, if there's a crack in the house, for example, crack in the wall, then the tool, one of the scope of work in the tool is to repair the crack. And then it is connected to a builder's guide where it shows you, the guide shows you and guides you to how you can repair and rehabilitate that crack properly, depending on how big the crack is, right? So yes, definitely, any retrofit project should have a repair and rehabilitation first before they can do any other, retrofitting or strengthening work. So this definitely has that.
My second question, all I mean all features of measurements are inserted in this app.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
All features of repair and renovations are inserted in this app. I think you are not getting my question. All features of repair and renovation, like BAQs, are in this app.
I think you mean the image in the application to show the damage or
Yes,
the
yes.
thing is that you have picture in your application showing different typology, masonry, and the cracks. I think is that, huh?
Yes, yes.
Are you asking whether those are from actual houses?
Any house.
Yeah, so the pictures I showed is basically, all the pictures are relevant to what, examples from our work. Like, for example, there are some schematic pictures that I show, which, again, there are things that you can't show very nicely in an actual picture where we use schematic pictures, but most of the pictures we use are from the projects that we've done.
My second question to bamboo houses, sir was preparing that we should go to the bamboo houses, bamboo construction. But in many countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, there are availability of bamboo or trees. But like Pakistan and other Afghanistan, other countries, we are not having trees or bamboos like easily available. What should we prepare for such easily or low cost structures?
If they don't have
Rafael? Oh, yeah, Kester.
I don't know how to answer that question, but we were able to use bamboo in the countries that we're working with, because one condition is, first, bamboo must be present on that area. And on the point of the first commentator a while ago, bamboo is a grass, so the growth rate of bamboo is quicker compared to the other natural resources, compared to timber. We know that this is We know that bamboo is also not present in a lot of countries. That's why I mentioned a while ago, context will really matters. What's present in our countries? What are the locally available resources that we can work with? And that's where we will find and improve the solutions that are currently present. Maybe.
To add in the response, like we have engaged bamboo to a little extent, only in the roof. So I think it's not necessary that you build complete house through bamboo. You can utilize in some areas, like we did in the SPHF houses.
You wanna answer something? Okay, so my question is that this bamboo construction, how did you check the strength parameters of this house that you built there? And number two, what about the biodegradation, because this is an organic material, so how did you check that life cycle assessment as well? And my third question is, did you use this bamboo in terms of reinforcement in RCC works? So these are my three questions.
Sorry, what was the first question you said?
Yeah.
I got the two other ones.
How did you check the strength parameters of your house that you built? The strength parameters.
Ah, okay, yes. So we've done it very kind of pragmatically. You do building actual houses, prototypes, and then measuring the breaking points. So we know that like a cyclone type 5 is so much like kilograms applied laterally on the house. So we try to simulate this application artificially, and then measuring with a dynamometer the breaking points. And then this allows us to really know in reality how much the house can resist in terms of strength. So it was done very pragmatically, and we were able to resist 26 times a 7.7 earthquake. So I think this more pragmatic techniques of calculating structures are quite successful in a way. And then for the end of the life cycle for the life of the house, so I think it's a little bit different when we talk about emergency housing or long-term housing. I think for emergency housing, it's not so much the long-term, it's more the short-term that we're thinking about. In the context of Myanmar, we're really focusing on emergency housing, low-cost housing. So we're really trying to get people in really comfortable living spaces and living conditions as fast as possible, and not necessarily thinking in 10 years what will happen to the bamboo. So I think it's different situations require different types of thinking. And then the last question, which was? Biodegradation? Yeah, well, like I said, it was not so much of a concern for us because we're dealing with emergency response.
If I may add, there's a lot of experimental, there's a lot of experiment that we did, checking all the mechanical properties of bamboo, all the strength properties. Not all varieties of bamboo also present in a country can be used in bamboo construction. So there's a lot of testing involved in all these kinds of things. And design-wise, especially for us who's doing it on an engineered way, say for example in Nepal, we were already able to pass a design guidelines for bamboo. So this will help the build professionals, engineers, architects to be able to design bamboo structure themselves using all the properties of bamboo that we found through experimental study. And on the what's the last question? The key to in bamboo construction is to protect it from the environment. So a lot of our construction is protected with other materials as well. So we're expecting the cement bamboo frame houses to last at least 20 years. So that's the time frame of the houses we're looking at.
I also want to this response. Typically responding to your question, we did some research on the bamboo. Still we are underestimating it, especially in Pakistan. And we came to know that bamboo has a tensile strength of 10% to the steel. So if you are saying 60,000 psi for steel, then 6,000 for bamboo, and it has more. Yes, we can use it as a reinforcement material in the concrete section as well. And for the biodegradation, it depends upon your seasoning. If your seasoning of timber or this bamboo is good, it can last up to 50 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for wonderful presentations and presenting your models. My question is from all the panel basically, you have presented some very good models, especially the one built by SPHF. The three typologies are very really climate resilient and but the question is they are climate resilient, but are they affordable and can people replicate it as well? All the models which you have mentioned, what are their affordability and replicability, that can community replicate as well? Thank you.
They are all made by beneficiaries. We just did hand holding. And we gave them $1,000, 300,000 PKR. A basic house without architectural finishes can be achieved through this grant. The people from themselves are adding their money to enhance the architectural features. Since it has been done by the people, yes, it is replicable and scalable.
Good afternoon. My name is Shakur. I'm from Shahersaz, an organization that works on human settlement. And one being working with these communities. My question is specifically from Mr. Naveed. First of all, congratulations on running and guiding a program on this scale. My question is how SPHF is actually dealing with the issue of land entitlements. For instance, one of the reasons people would not have constructed pakka houses or permanent houses was that those people or those communities, those run in millions, were sitting on or living on lands which owned by others. So by constructing the house, it gives an image that they are now seeking permanence. But the land owners were not allowing that to happen. So how SPHF is dealing with this issue? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for appreciating SPHF efforts. And because of the time constraint, I could not explain complete slides. It was there, but I skipped it. Land titles and ownership are very important. So we have categorized our beneficiaries into 4 and 5 types. Those who are living on their land, so they don't need land titles. They already have the land title. Those who are living on public lands, we are giving them land titles. So what government is giving them, 300,000 PKR plus land titles. Number 3 category, which you mentioned, the people who are living on others' land, other private land. We have sorted out this problem by showing some leniency, that they need to give us 10 years tenant agreement. So we covered by this. I hope I answered the question. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. This is Jago from IOM Pakistan. Thanks, everyone. That was really interesting. Firstly, just to, I think all this work in new materials is really interesting. Okay. But also just to say that actually we can do a lot even with the same materials just through design. So in terms of Pakistan, we're building pucca shelters, brick, masonry, the same as normal, but by using some kind of vernacular typologies, a circular type and a pitched roof type, we can bring the cost down by up to 40%, 45% with normal masonry houses. But then just in terms of sorry, that was a statement, but I do have a question. In terms of the 2 bamboo projects, I wonder if you have any research or feedback in terms of the community acceptance of that. Because often with the kind of new materials, new typologies, people are quite doubtful. And whether you have any feedback from the beneficiaries. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Obviously, yeah, these typologies in Pakistan are absolutely beautiful by the architect Yasmin Lari. I think she's doing incredible work here in Pakistan. To answer your question, yeah, I mean, bamboo has been used for centuries in Myanmar as vernacular construction. Even today, when you go into villages, it's still being used. So it's already completely accepted because it's currently still ongoing. And this manual that I came up with is not a way to replace constructions, it's to optimize existing ongoing construction sites that are going on in the country. And yeah, in terms of beneficiaries, for some of our structures that are a bit more ambitious, such as like building clinics or hospitals with NGOs, these were highly innovative structures. And after building the first one and taking a bit of a risk, then we see that actually more and more of these NGOs are coming to see us to build more of these clinics. So they're very happy with the way the clinics are operating today. And today, all 3 of our clinics that we've built out of bamboo are serving 200,000 consultations a year. So there's definitely a need and a way to scale. If you build really well, then we've had a lot of success with our projects so far.
For our case, as mentioned a while ago, we're working in 2 countries for bamboo. One is Nepal, and then one is in the Philippines. And I would say there's a difference in community acceptance. Based on our experience, I can consider that we are more successful in introducing bamboo in Nepal compared to the Philippines, because in the Philippines, bamboo is still perceived as a poor man's material. There's a lot of promotion and marketing involved in this, where we have to show them that this works. We have to build first, pilot a lot of houses, and make the community realize that, no, the bamboo can also be at par with your conventional structure. But to answer your question, it's a different community acceptance, I would say, and with Nepal, we were more successful. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Abid Hussaini, Punjab Urban Unit. Excellent presentation, very, very useful. I have one question short from you and one Naveed Saab from you. Ma'am, is your application is publicly available, number one. Second, Naveed Saab, my question is that how you define a room and a home, because you keep on calling it a home and home and home, and probably it's a one room home, because one family could be more than. So are you bringing the standards of a living below that? Children, everybody is living in one room, and how we will be coping with this standard being set by a government agency, and World Bank is also involved in that. Thank you. First, ma'am, and then you.
Thank you for the question. My answer to that is no, it is not publicly available. Also because currently we are using this tool for Indonesia and Philippines, where again the materials are very different. It's very specific to the country we're working on. The hazard levels are very different. So our tool is calibrated, the one that we use in Indonesia and the one we use in Philippines are calibrated to that, the preferences there, the hazard levels there. So we cannot, it's not appropriate for Pakistan to be used directly. So again, whereas we can develop something for Pakistan, but right now it's not publicly available and not recommended to use it in any situation.
Very simple, but I think very complicated question. Because we receive this observation from many persons. If you see the project from some other perspective, some other direction, some other lens, you will say that one room is not a house. It's only a one room. Yes, this is one way of looking the things. But if you ask me, I have done 2.1 million damage assessment. So what I found there, this 240 square feet is the universe for many people. We have taken 132 features during the survey. And it will be, I think, a news for you. For me, it's a very common thing that 80% or more than 80% are living within 150 square feet area. So for them, it's a universe. As I mentioned in my presentation, that we adopted build back better. We cannot follow codal requirements. It may require certain area, certain engineering things, and then certain financial constraints. So we followed Build Back Better. It seems very simple, but it has many things. So this is the response from my side, I think. Thank you.
Sorry, here.
We just arrived at the end of the session. We can continue 30 minutes more, but I don't know if you would like. So maybe we can take just a last question.
Okay.
Two last question.
One.
So one here and one there. Then we will close it.
Okay.
But if you prefer to stay more 30 minutes, but you can see, you know, every presentation is a snapshot, and we could discuss even 1 hour for each. So thank you very much for your participation. I'm passing over. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, colleagues, and welcome to Pakistan. I'm curious at the modalities and typologies you have presented today. Are you mapping the heat or the climate data of these typologies? And if so, is it available to review for the wider conversation? And for Liv, the thing that you presented as a tool for microfinance, is there a possibility to take this further into microcrediting and carbon crediting? And is there room for integrating loss and damage element to it? I know this is a kind of a future-scaped question, but just placing it here for further discussion. Thank you.
In terms of your first question on whether we've done mapping, yes, we have. And again, I would like to announce that my colleague Ani will be presenting details on that, data on what we did tomorrow. Her presentation is tomorrow, so please do attend that. So what was the other question?
About the micro financing and converting it as a carbon crediting.
We are not really into carbon crediting, but we are looking into connecting with, insurance like parametric insurance or even traditional type of insurance and connecting that with the tool. Yes.
Okay, my question is, Marta from IOM Moldova, Myanmar. So my question is, nobody's seeing me? Am I invisible? Okay, here. Okay. No, my question is for the SPHF project. This is like project we're talking about billions of not even local currency, but it's of dollars, and this has been done in a locality, basically, I would say, and for sure, like as been said, like most of the items are being procured locally. So do we consider the market of that area when we are doing those procurements, meaning to control inflation? Probably after our after the project is done, then you don't find, you find like all materials being becoming expensive or unaffordable for the people, and if people don't have any job. And the second question is like, what is your exit strategy for this? Like you hand over to the community, or like what will be like the faith of those people that have been trained, like women and other people? Thank you so much.
Number one, yes, I can see you there. You are far away, but I can see you.
Okay, we'll just take a last statement to conclude.
Sorry, very
Pascal,
briefly.
you are bypassing the question.
Oh, no, I thought I'd come to it afterwards. But just on that question about the house and the home, I was going to support my SPHF colleague. It's completely true that in Sindh, almost all people in rural Sindh live in a one-room house, but also the house includes the outside space. The kitchen is outside, the toilet is outside, and in front of the house there'll be a kind of a porch area that's raised and made of mud. And for quite large periods of the year, they sleep outside because it's so hot. So yeah, the house is one room, but it's everything outside that as well. So it's not as mean as it seems at first when you say, okay, it's a 200 square foot house. It works much, it's much larger than that in practice.
Thank you. I must respond to the previous question. The people are asking us that only one room is taking 3 years. and still we have not completed 2.1 million houses. So one of the constraint, like you mentioned, is the material constraint. We can give them in a single tranche. In one month, give $2 billion to the people, project close. But then we would have faced many problems like the poor construction, material unavailability. So these are taken into control by giving in tranches, and that's why the project length is increasing.
Okay, I think we will conclude. I can also give my own advice about one room. As we all know, we have the sphere standard. So it gives us an idea of the minimum, but we cannot always apply. It can be because you don't have the space. It can be because it's not culturally also accepted. I give you my example. It was in Madagascar, so it's not Asia, but it's very similar than Philippines, similar content. The house, traditional house, is 12 meters square. So when you discuss with the government says that's 12 meters square. So it's not respecting the minimum standard, but we have to adapt also as the context. And I would say for one room is the same. We need to think is one of the shelter activity, we call that core house. So it can be the beginning of the house, and then the family with the time, with support, with livelihood is very important. People have livelihood to be able maybe to extend the house, and then slowly. But supporting 2.1 million family, so it's already one thing. They have a room, they are on safe, it's safe for flood, for earthquake, so that's a beginning, and that's the responsibility also of the community. Thank you very much.